Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our ordinary council meeting for the 22nd of April 2025. I'm just noting some feedback coming through, IT. Can I start by acknowledging tonight's meeting opening at 7 and also acknowledging the traditional custodians on the land in which we meet this evening. I'd also like to pay my respects to elders past and present. Just as we move into item 2 tonight, the opening prayer is to be conducted by Major Craig Spooner of the Salvation Army. May we also join in during this particular moment to pay our condolences on the passing of Pope Francis yesterday. Pastor Spooner, if you'd like to go ahead. Lieutenant, sorry.
Let's become before the Lord in prayer. Dear Lord, we just thank you for the Easter holiday that we have just celebrated. We give you thanks, dear Lord, for the life, death and resurrection of your Son, Jesus. We thank you for the example he sets. We thank you also for Pope Francis, dear Lord, and we praise you and thank you for his gift. Dear Lord, as we think about gifts, you are the Lord of power and the giver of grace and wisdom. We commend to you all who engage in the government of this council. Grant to them each clean hands, pure hearts, and unfailing devotion to the cause of your righteousness. To you, merciful Lord, we commend this council, that their works will be a blessing to this community, that they, dear Heavenly Father, will promote your work in our midst, to the comfort of the poor, the relief of the oppressed, the pulling down of anything that will harm the young or the vulnerable. Let all they think or speak or do or be, may it all be to your glory and for the blessing of your kingdom and for their constituents, we pray. We ask it all in the name of Christ the Lord. Amen.
Amen.
And amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Major Craig Spooner from the Salvation Army tonight. Please be seated, which you already have done. Please note this meeting is being recorded and streamed live on the Council's website in accordance with the City's public participation in Council meeting policy, which can be viewed on Council's website. All reasonable care is taken to maintain your privacy. However, as a visitor in the public gallery tonight, your presence may be recorded. By remaining in the public gallery, it is assumed your consent is given if your image is broadcast. The recommendations contained in this agenda are officers' recommendations only and should not be acted upon until Council has resolved to adopt those recommendations. The resolutions of Council can be confirmed, or should be confirmed I should say, by perusing the minutes of the Council meeting at which these recommendations were considered. Members of the public should also note that they act at their own risk if they enact any resolution prior to receiving official written notification from Council. Councillors, tonight our record of attendance is as follows. In the chamber alongside me, the Deputy Mayor is here this evening. Good evening to you. Councillor Bodica, good evening. Councillor Winner, hello. Councillor Johnson, what have you got there? Pickles? Olives, lovely. Great to have you here tonight. Councillor O'Donnell, good evening to you. And good evening, Councillor Viskovich. Acting in the CEO position tonight, we have Louis Camporelli, who's our Director of Engineering. Councillors, we also have two councillors joining us via phone tonight, just to confirm that they are with us. Councillor Turner and also Councillor Brownlee, good evening to you both.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, councillors. To include both councillors into tonight's meeting, I will require a procedural motion to approve the attendance of Councillor Turner and Councillor Brownlee to attend tonight's ordinary council meeting via phone. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Bodica. Seconded, Councillor Viskovich. No discussion? No discussion. And Councillor Turner and Councillor Turner and Councillor Brownlee are now included in tonight's proceeding, which brings us to a full quorum of 9. That vote was 7-0. Alongside that record of attendance, we have members of staff. As mentioned, the acting CEO tonight is Louis Camporelli. First time in the chair? Excited? Excellent. Director of Advocacy and Strategy, Mayor Hicks, is here tonight. So too is our Director of Corporate and Commercial, Cass Yeager. Executive Manager of Finance, Sandra Kernock is with us tonight. Executive Manager of Governance and Risk Services is Francis Liston. IT Coordinator is Riley Naray Robertson, who's with us tonight alongside Matthew Pearson, our ICT Risk and Compliance Officer. Visitors, we have several. I'll note that it is 30 plus and the official attendance will be recorded, and we also have just the one press member with us tonight. There are no apologies from elected members. There is one apology from a member of staff, and that is our CEO, Andrew Bryan, who's on previously approved annual leave. There was a leave of absence previously approved to Councillor Turner. However, that is not valid this evening as Councillor Turner is with us tonight. There are no responses to previous public questions taken on notice. Item 5 is public access and public question time. Public access, first of all. Mr Scott Barton, resident of Mullingar, has a public access submission in relation to item 1545, the DAP application, proposed workforce accommodation on lot 173 Kitchener Road in Mullingar. If you'd like to come to the podium, please, Mr Barton. You are allowed to address council on any issue for 3 minutes. You've already told us what you'll be giving us tonight. Comments, statements and ideas can be presented. Questions are not permitted. You've let us know prior to 2 p.m. today in regards to your public access. You are required to state your full name and address, and also if you are making statements on behalf of others or organisations, you need to provide that authority. I can terminate your address if any time, Mr Barty, if you become aggressive, defamatory or considered inappropriate. Highly doubt that tonight. You're well dressed. The presiding officer reserves the right also to terminate public access the whole session at his or her discretion, and attending the meeting location prior to the events which you've done. Meetings are conducted also through electronics, which you don't need to worry about. Mr Barton, over to you for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson and councillors. I thank you for allowing me the privilege of addressing this council meeting regarding the proposed 1,200-bed single-person accommodation facility. This process is a cornerstone to the democratic decision making, ensuring long-lasting decisions are made fully informed and with community at best at first. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Scott Barton from 16E Hare Street, Mullingar. While I may not be local, my 30 years here, I believe this has given me a good understanding of what does and doesn't serve the community well. I've married local, raised my family here. My wife and I, we run a small business and employ 8 local residential staff. For transparency, I should note that my business previously has provided mechanical services for the construction company applying for this development. However, we now no longer do business. We also have a great working relationship with Northern Star Resources, who I believe is the end user of this facility. Let me be clear, I do not oppose the fly-in, fly-out workforce or the camps that support them. I believe that if you do not agree with fly-in, fly-out, you are possibly out of touch and misinformed. The reality is, fly-in, fly-out model that the many operations in the goldfields operate would never get off the ground if it wasn't for FIFO workers. And these mining businesses strongly contribute to community. The blunt truth is, we don't have enough gritty, hard-working locals willing to step into those demanding roles. Those roles, when they can seize the fantastic opportunity right at their front doorstep. Now, let alone it's $5,000 an ounce for gold. If they don't get it now, they probably never will. That said, I strongly oppose this large-scale accommodation village in its proposed format on 2 points. Number one, if this camp is to proceed, I strongly urge the planning authorities to enforce that a significant portion of the camp to be built with permanent structures, bricks and mortar design, to be blended with the character of the goldfields. Let's not settle for short-term donga solutions when long-term thoughtful planning is what the community deserves. Number two, the proposed camp has a design that includes and utilises Kitchener Road as its only access to the camp. This is the most incomprehensible design considering the camp's location is closer to the Goldfields Highway. This would be putting an additional 400 vehicle movements morning and night onto Hare Street. That is already a very busy corridor.
Mr. Barton, I'll just let you know you've gone over time, but sounds like you're ready to wrap up.
Thank you. Yep. I've lived on Hare Street East for 17 years. I believe that would qualify me to my stance against the use of the Kitchener-Hare Street corridor. I believe that it is also at capacity, regardless of the shining transport impacts assessment study that has been provided by the developer. Even as recently as Easter Saturday, a mother and her children were T-boned by another vehicle that failed to give way at the Hare Street-King Street intersection. I can tell you now, the footage on my security cameras was horrifying, to say the least, and I'll be happy to provide that footage to Council. Again, I strongly urge the City Council and the Building Planning Department to oppose the Kitchener Road Hare Street option. I thank you for your opportunity to speak, and as you consider your advice to the Regional Joint Development Assessment Panel, I ask you to focus on 3 things: community, community, community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. Just to clarify one comment in there, we should get a round of applause. It is an 800-bed camp. You mentioned at the start 1,200. I just wanted to clarify that for those people as well. Next presentation this evening, or next public access, is from Mr. Nick Strong from Northern Star Resources. Also on the item 1545, the DAP application, proposed workforce accommodation, lot 173, Kitchener Road, Mullingar. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Mayor and Councillors, for having me here tonight. My name's Nick Strong. I live at 37 Boundary Street in South Kalgoorlie. As the Council is aware, Northern Star is a significant contributor to the local goldfields economy and a significant employer in the region. Northern Star's upcoming growth projects require a substantial number of additional short-term workers to implement the necessary construction. The workforce accommodation facility is necessary to accommodate up to 800 workers. Northern Star continues to progress its long-term growth strategy for KCGM operations and is advancing several new major projects through various approval processes. These projects are in addition to the 4 major growth projects currently underway, namely the Fimiston Mill expansion, the tailing storage capacity increases at both TSF3 and the construction of expansion of TSF2 and the construction of TSF3, and the Fimiston South Pit expansion and Fimiston Underground expansion. Adding to this pipeline could be a new thermal power station, a new renewables project focused on wind, solar and battery technology, and the conversion of advanced regional exploration targets into mines, some of which were disclosed at our presentation at Diggers last year. We anticipate that these will require further short-term project teams in order to, in addition to the teams who are already working on the current expansions. In all, Northern Star is spending several $1 billion over the near term to grow our business and secure the future of KCGM for many decades to come. While it would be nice to have these things come in an orderly manner to fit within the current accommodation capacity of Kalgoorlie-Boulder, we anticipate additional peak construction workforce numbers of around 600 to 700 personnel at a time over the current personnel. In addition to the above requirements, the additional construction, we also have shutdowns that require up to 500 workers at a time for short periods throughout the year. Northern Star has publicly, openly sought expressions of interest from Kalgoorlie businesses to provide short-term accommodation solutions for us, but there were very few responses and none that could come close to our requirements. There is no capacity in the existing housing or accommodation solution in the Kalgoorlie area to accommodate the short-term workforce requirements for KCGM's growth objectives. We believe that to shoehorn our requirements into the town as it is would be damaging and irresponsible for the community. The current rental vacancy rate is already 1.6%, which is well below the healthy industry benchmark of 3%. Northern Star fully understands and supports the objectives of encouraging workers to permanently reside in Kalgoorlie-Boulder and reiterates its full commitment to a residential workforce for normal operations. KCGM's workforce currently comprises over 1,000 residential workers with significant ongoing vacancies for workers. We simply can't get enough local workers despite our preference for always being local. Notwithstanding Northern Star's proven commitment to supporting the residential workforce for KCGM, these additional vital short-term workforce requirements to enable KCGM's growth and the continued support of the Goldfields region necessitates the proposed development of this workforce accommodation in Mullingar. While we acknowledge some community concern over the development, the proposed workforce accommodation is consistent with the Council's policy objectives of ensuring accommodation is provided within the town site and integrated into the local community. The Mullingar site is ideally located in the residential zone, but with separation to ensure the residential areas, we minimise traffic in the residential areas beyond and any other amenity impacts. This is also to ensure there are lasting legacy benefits beyond this accommodation facility, including tree retention, additional planting and landscaping, extension of services to facilitate future subdivision and housing, and extension of Kitchener Road to connect the residential zone site in the local area. I note the report under the traffic impact assessment, it mentions 944 vehicle movements per day. This is an arbitrary planning factor based on room numbers and other forms of community accommodation and not a reflection of our reality. We will not be giving every worker a car. The reality is workers will be bussed and light vehicle use will be limited. The traffic number is an order of magnitude out from what we expect based on our experience in camps. The architect has designed a high-quality village with landscaping, communal facilities, open space and amenities will provide an excellent standard of short-term accommodation. The city's comments and concerns regarding connection with the town are acknowledged and Northern Star will ensure a daily bus service for residents to visit the main street.
Nick, just to let you know, you've gone a couple of minutes over, but if you want to wrap it up, thank you.
Wrap it up. We acknowledge that housing, and more specifically short-term worker accommodation, is a matter of significant interest to Kalgoorlie-Boulder, and which is reflected in a number of submissions and presentations to Council. Our residential workforce is our greatest asset, and we're heavily invested in them. We believe that our billions of dollars of investment in KCGM and the enablers that are needed to make the reality are advantageous to the whole community. The City's officers' assessment strikes a careful balance between the aspirations of Council and the community and the need for investment and employment, and ultimately supports this application and recommends its approval. We respectfully request that Council supports the officers' recommendation and endorses the responsible authority report to the Development Assessment Panel.
Thanks, Mr Strong. Just noting for the minutes as well, Councillor Brownlie's phone dropped out at 7:17, was reconnected at 7:17 as well. Thanks, Nick. Moving on from public access time, we have public question time. Mr David Oates, resident of Lamington, who's in the audience this evening. If you'd like to come forward to the podium. Thank you, Mr Oates.
Yeah, thanks very much. David Oates, 73 Lyle Street is my residence. Look, my issue this evening is the treated wastewater. I've got 3 questions that I want to pose to Council. When was the last offtake of treated wastewater delivered to KCGM/Northern Star and the Kalgoorlie nickel smelter?
Thank you, Mr Oates. I'll answer that for you right now. No recycled water was supplied to Northern Star and the Kalgoorlie nickel smelter, only to KCGM, and the last offtake to KCGM was the 12th of December 2017.
Okay. Well, you've answered the second question. Further, are there any other commercial offtakes? Arrangements?
Sure. Question 3 originally had, was there any other offtake agreements, which we have an answer to. You've added in the word commercial since then, so I will take that question on notice.
Okay.
You had another question in there as well. We'll supply that question to you in the minutes to the next meeting. That one?
Correct, okay.
And sorry, question 2. There was another
Well,
one?
you've answered that by saying The last one was 2017.
Yep, and your question was, just for transparency purposes, could the council provide the volume supplied per annum and the date of discontinued supply? The volume was 2.7 megalitres per day, 985 megalitres per annum.
Correct.
Correct? Are my answers. Thank you, Mr. Oates. Our next questions this evening come from Simone Pickering, who has sent the questions to us. Just confirming Simone's not in the gallery. We have a lot in the gallery. Simone's not here. No, I'll read those questions and also provide those answers as well. Correspondence has been sent to Simone Pickering on behalf of Louis Camporelli, Acting CEO, in response to her initial email received on the 14th of April 2025. Question 1. Why was factually incorrect information provided to me, being Ms Pickering, in the written response to a public question raised at the 17th of February 2025 council meeting regarding the city's use of recruitment agencies? The answer of which: the city is committed to transparency and accuracy in all communications, and as we take concerns from local businesses seriously. The earlier response did not capture the full extent of March's recruitment expenditure, which has now been clarified in the letter sent today to Ms Pickering. I relied on information, that's me as the Mayor, relied on information provided by the relevant city officers, which later transpired to be incomplete, and for that I apologise. Question 2. Given that the use of Walga's preferred supplier program is not mandatory, and local governments are free to engage suppliers outside of the program or endorse new suppliers for inclusion, why has the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder continued to overlook capable local recruitment providers in favour of non-local agencies, particularly when the services are readily available within the community? The answer to question 2. A significant amount of the city's recruitment is conducted in-house by our People and Culture team, comprising 6 residential staff members using platforms such as LinkedIn and Seek, in addition to our own website. The City has worked with several local agencies for its people and culture needs, some of which include the People and Culture Office, CalSec, Kalgoorlie Consulting, Collective Culture Consultancy, and the local branches of DFP and GPH. We will continue to work with local agencies when appropriate and aligned with operational needs. Question 3 to Ms Pickering. With $168,315 in recruitment spend recorded so far this financial year, including $41,821 in March 2025 alone, how does the City justify this level of expenditure with providers outside the region when no one understands the unique challenges of recruiting for Kalgoorlie better than a local recruiter? The answer to which: our recruitment approach is reviewed regularly and determined on a case-by-case basis. While we do occasionally utilise providers external to our region, this is not a reflection of disinterest in supporting local businesses, but rather driven by the need for recruitment of senior management roles in specialised fields. The City will continue to engage with local providers where appropriate, explore opportunities to build capability locally, and support businesses in the uptake of our relaunched vendor panel portal to enhance and expand opportunities for local procurement. Our next questions come from Mr Peter Dillon. Mr Dillon, are you in the audience? Thank you. If you'd like to come forward. Thank you, Mr Dillon. Just state your name and also your address for the record and continue with your first question. Thank you.
Peter Dillon, 31A Clancy Street, Boulder. My matter is insignificant compared to what you've just heard with Northern Star, etc., but it's not just about me. The subject is the annual community fair, one of 2 or 3 events a year that showcases Kalgoorlie-Boulder and is, I understand, heavily funded by the city, and without the city's funding probably couldn't go on. This year I applied for a stall, completed forms. Unfortunately, in the year 2025, we have an archaic system where you have to send pieces of paper in the mail, otherwise you don't get a gig. I paid a deposit. On at site allocation day, I went down to Morrison and was told they hadn't heard of me, but they could fit me in. But I had to check in with the office at Crookshank, which I did. I got physically thrown out of that office by a bouncer. Completely inappropriate behaviour. My application form was thrown on the ground outside the mining manager, and this is the Bible of the gold story in Western Australia in 2 volumes. I repeat, 8,000 hours work and 45 grand in printing costs. And for the belligerence of one individual, I was denied 4 square metres at Morrison.
Thank you. Mr. Dillon, would you like to just get to your questions, please?
So my questions are, and I could effectively roll them into one, but you probably got them down as 3. As this is an event which showcases the city and is heavily funded by the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder, is this... my question, as written, is the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder aware of the way the organising company, in particular the chief organiser, conducts themselves? That's the first question, and as I say, they can all be rolled up.
Sure, I'll answer that question for you. As an external event not run by the city, we're not aware of city officers being present at the time of the alleged conduct. The operations and management of the fair lie with the committee, and therefore all complaints should be referred to them.
Yeah, I acknowledge your response, but that's a futile avenue. Legal avenue is my only other option if I'm not successful in getting some change. But my second question specifically is the city satisfied with that code of conduct which is showcasing the city? Again, I say this is heavily funded by the council, and without that funding it doesn't happen.
Thank you. I'll answer that question. The city cannot comment on the alleged conduct. It's unrelated to this incident. The city can advise that officers have been undertaking a review of its community funding and the sponsorship policies over the course of the last month.
All right, my third question is related and pretty much similar to the others, but does this organising entity satisfy and comply all City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder requirements? And seemingly they are, as though they're refunded each year, with the exception of last year, I believe. But it's kind of linked to the other 2 questions.
Sure. I'll clarify the question which you put in writing. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Does the organising entity satisfy and comply with all CKB obligations? If not, why does the CKB continue to prop up this organisation with ratepayers' money? That's your question, correct?
Correct, yeah.
As per ordinary council meeting of the 17th of February 2025, when council considered the Kalgoorlie-Boulder Fair Society sponsorship request, it was outlined to council that there were several policy and guideline requirements not met by the Fair Society's application for sponsorship. Council departed from these requirements due to the community benefit proposed from the event. The city has an obligation to review all applications received and will continue to assess these against policy and sponsorship guidelines.
Can I just go back just quickly and just add a couple of points which I omitted, but in terms of the conduct, and as I said at the start, it's not just about me. I've been informed...
Sorry, Mr. Dillon, I won't allow it.
Okay.
Thank you for your questions. Our next questions this evening come from Mel Moores and Ben Glatz. If those questions wanted to be answered by the Mayor or put forward, I'm happy to do so. The questions are, question 1, has the applicant considered, I take it this is in relation to item 1545, the DAP application. Question 1, has the applicant considered any bushfire risks associated with the proposed site, particularly given that the Water Corporation has not permitted connection to the main water supply? The answer to this question, a bushfire management plan has been submitted with the application to address the bushfire management issues. It is proposed that water tanks for firefighting purposes are be constructed on site, with water to be trucked in from a separate location. Question 2, what steps are being taken by the applicant to ensure that introducing an 800-man camp, effectively doubling Kalgoorlie's accommodation overnight, does not undermine the character, cohesion and long-standing identity of the local community? The answer to which, the site is located in proximity to the Kalgoorlie-Boulder town site boundaries and is nearby to a number of local activity centres, e.g. 500 metres from the suburb of Hannans, 2 kilometres from Hannans Boulevard Shopping Centre, 2.7 kilometres from Kalgoorlie Town Centre or Hannans Street, 2.8 kilometres from Gargala Nature Park. The applicant has agreed to construct a shared path link to the local road network and provide daily shuttle bus services to transport workers to local shopping areas. It is expected that the occupants will be able to access services provided by the local businesses and community organisations. Question 3, what specific steps has the applicant taken to address point 3 of the workers' accommodation proposal, which requires that the need for additional beds be weighed against the capacity of existing settlements to meet their own accommodation needs? The answer and response: the applicant has submitted information addressing the local planning policy for workforce accommodation. The need for the proposed development has also been discussed in the body of the council report. The main reasons that this type of development is required are firstly, the nature of mining construction projects needs many workers attending the site at any one time and therefore needs a large amount of rooms for a short period of time. Secondly, the existing local rental accommodation is not sufficient to meet the project demand. And thirdly, the KCGM expansion projects require specialist workers that are not locally available and are therefore required to be recruited elsewhere through a FIFO work arrangement. It is easier to manage personnel through a centralised management system for transportation to and from work. They are our public questions for this evening. Just confirming there were no further questions. Thank you. Item 7, petitions, deputations and presentations. There are nil. Item 8, notations of interest. Councillors, I have not received any notations affecting impartiality this evening. Is that correct? Yep, no further notations. Financial interests. Councillors, I have the following. Even though the CEO is not here, he has still declared a financial interest in it does say 612, but I'm going to clarify that to, that's the item from the committee for tonight's agenda. It is 1412, the CEO KPI review, because it's in relation to the conditions of his employment, and the CEO has also declared a financial interest in item 613, the draft key performance indicators of 25-26. Again, that is item 1413 of tonight's agenda, because the item is in relation to the conditions of his employment. The Deputy Mayor has a financial interest in item 1545, the DAP application, proposed workforce accommodation on lot 173 Kitchener Road in Mullingar, because the Deputy Mayor is a shareholder of the applicant company. Councillor Winner has a financial interest in item 1514, the rates concession applications for 24-25, that should be 24-25, yep, because of his employer's applied for a rates concession. Councillor Johnson has a financial interest also in item 1514 of the rates concession applications for 24-25, because he's a member of the Vintage Kalgoorlie Car Club. Councillor Viskovich has a financial interest in item 1544, the disposal of land at 1 Trasimeno Way in Somerville, because Westralia Homes is a client of hers. Councillor Viskovich also has a financial interest in item 1545, the DAP application, proposed workforce accommodation on lot 173 Kitchener Road, Mullingar, because the applicant is a client of hers. And
to do with the it's not a financial interest.
noted, thank you.
So it's just impartiality.
8.1, interests affecting impartiality. We have one item of impartiality, and that is Councillor Johnson, who has an impartiality interest in item 1514, due to your membership. A lot of reading tonight. 8.3, Proximity Interest Local Government Act. No proximity councillors. I haven't received nil. Item 9, applications for leave of absence. Councillors, anyone wanting to go on leave of absence? There are nil. Item 9.2, councillors, is that section 9.1 of the Standing Orders Local Law 2013 requires members of council to rise to speak be suspended. Do you wish to sit down tonight? Thank you, Councillor Winner. You do wish to sit down. It is looking like a long meeting. Seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Councillor Winner, you wish to speak? Councillor Deputy Mayor, you wish to speak? No? No further discussion, councillors? Carried 9-0 that you don't need to stand up tonight to speak. Item 10, the announcements by the person presiding without discussion. I'll begin tonight by a note to a Walk of Fame recipient in Mrs. Tess Thompson, who passed away recently. Mrs. Thompson has had a very long and associated history with Kalgoorlie-Boulder and the goldfields, and has conducted many publications in relation to the history of our city and long gone from there. Also, her grandson is an employee with the city. I'd like to pass on our condolences to Mrs. Thompson's family on her recent passing. Councillors, also there are mayoral announcements which have been put forward within tonight's agenda for you to look at. A couple of items in there. We met with Amana Living, as Respect will be taking over Amana Living from their particular contracts associated there. some work done with the Mining Cities Alliance councillors. We've had our coffee catch-ups, minimal attendees, so therefore we must be doing a good job in the community. We've started to meet with ministers, which have been elected at the state level. Our first minister was Minister Stephen Dawson, who's the new Minister for Regional Development. We've met with the CEO of the RFDS, continued our meetings with police, a few more interviews. Had a good meeting with Australia Post Operations. They've recently changed their delivery strategy within the city and changed their haulage partners. Met with former councillor Mick McKay and paid him a visit, and also met with TAFE last week. Opened up, councillors, the Heritage Festival and the Anzac exhibition on Wednesday night at the Boulder Town Hall. What a beautiful exhibition that is, and credit to our staff who've done an amazing job on that one. Further to that, councillors, that is basically the month. Item 11, confirmation of minutes. Councillors, you have 3 confirmation of minutes. We had 2 special council meetings on the 10th of March and the 24th of March alongside our ordinary council meeting on the 17th of March. Is there a mover to accept those minutes? Thank you, Councillor Viskovich. Seconder? Councillor Johnson. Any discussion, Councillor Viskovich? Any discussion, Councillor Johnson? No dissent? Carried 9-0. Motions of which previous notice have been given, there are none. Urgent business approved by the person presiding or by decision, there are none. We move to reports of committees. Councillors, these won't be considered for any en bloc. We do have, obviously, financials and also one simple, but we'll pull them all out. Item 14.1.1 is the appointment of a chairperson. A amended/committee recommendation has been put. Councillors, is there a mover for that motion? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Seconded, Councillor Viskovich. Deputy Mayor, you wish to speak? Councillor Viskovich, wish to speak? Any councillors wish to speak? No discussion, no dissent. Carried 9-0. Item 14.1.2, a CEO KPI review. This is an update to the CEO's KPI recently. He has declared a financial interest in this particular matter. Committee are to receive the update in this particular report. Mover for 14.1.2. Thank you, Councillor Viskovich. Seconder, Councillor Winner. Any discussion? No, Councillor Winner. No discussion, councillors. Carried 9-0. Item 14.1.3, the draft key performance indicators. Again, the CEO has declared a financial. Seconder, Councillor O'Donnell. Any discussion, Councillor Bodicar? Any discussion, Councillor O'Donnell? Any discussion, councillors? No, carried 9-0. Item 14.1.4, the Local Government Chief Officers Group Report, noting that there will be a special council meeting also in regards to this next week. Mover for the recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Winner. Seconder, Councillor O'Donnell. Councillor Winner, you wish to speak? Councillor O'Donnell, you wish to speak? No dissent, councillors? Carried 9-0. Moving on to reports of officers, councillors, the en bloc resolution for tonight takes in the following. 15.1.1, which is the Statement of Financial Activity, February 2025. 15.1.2, the Accounts Payable Report for March 2025. 15.3.1, which is the Expression of Interest Goldfields Oasis Cafe. 15.4.2 is the Change of Use Holiday House, Lot 86, number 31 Smythe Drive, Broadwood. Number 15.4.3, the Change of Use Holiday Home, Lot 1, 11 Galbraith Street in Somerville. And number 15.4.7, the RAR amendment to the approved petrol station, convenience store and showroom development, lots 50, R406, R407 and R409, numbers 526 to 536 Hannon Street, Kalgoorlie. They are your en bloc for tonight. Councillors, if you are happy with that, may I have a mover for that motion. Thank you, Councillor Bodicar. Councillor Winner.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. May I ask that item 15.3.1 be removed from en bloc?
Sure.
Thank you.
Did I call for a mover? No, I did. Does the mover agree with that? Thank you. So 15.3.1 comes out, which is the expressions of interest for the Goldfields Oasis Cafe. So we will debate that tonight. Just highlighting 15.11, 15.12, 15.42, 15.43, 15.47 will be the en bloc. 15.3.1 is pulled. Councillor Boddicker, you've moved that. Seconder is Councillor O'Donnell. Happy with that? You're okay. No worries. There's no discussion to be had on that. Question was put and moved Boddicker, seconded O'Donnell. No dissent, councillors. Carried 9-0. 15.11's dealt with. 15.12's dealt with. 15.13 is the 2025 budget amendment. We require an absolute majority for this item. Do I have a mover for the recommendation, councillors? Move Councillor Viskovich, seconder Councillor Winner. Councillor Viskovich, you wish to speak? Councillor Winner, you wish to speak? Go ahead, Councillor Winner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be speaking in favour of this motion tonight. I think calling it bluntly is nobody likes mistakes, particularly ones that affect budgets. And while this is a big one, it's an error which doesn't mean a cut to any services or one that has put the city at any risk or in an unsustainable situation. It is an error where, based on the information provided, the City and Council thought we had more funds to spend than we did, so planned to commence a number of projects, which, now that it has become known that we don't have the same budget, will now be delayed to the next budget in a few months' time. The cash hasn't been spent, and the City isn't out of money. We just can't do as much as we would have liked now. While errors are not something you want to find, we can't change the fact that one has been made. The silver lining is that this error has been identified before we were in a position where this could have been an actual cash impact, and I'm comfortable with the learnings and measures being taken, reviewed and introduced to ensure this doesn't happen again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? Speaker for? Before the mover has the right to reply, Councillor Winner, well said. The ownership and accountability in relation to this particular item is to be welcomed by our staff. An error can happen at any time. Unfortunately, obviously, the item is in relation to a budget amendment, but for our staff to be able to take ownership and accountability in relation to this matter needs to be applauded. This item could have also been swept under the carpet, dare I say it, by some creative accounting on the back end, so it just didn't happen. We've seen a Transparency Act take place. Yes, there has been some criticism of that, but how can you be critical when you're taking ownership, accountability and showing transparency? Mover has the right of reply.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Winner. I'd just like to echo exactly what he said. I think there is human error in all accounts, and we have to applaud the team for taking responsibility and owning up to it. And I just want to say thanks to them for doing so.
Thank you, Councillor Viskovich. There's been no dissent recorded, councillors. No dissent. Carried 9-0. Item 15.14. Councillor Winner, you've declared a financial interest. You'll have to leave the room. Councillor Johnson, you've declared an impartiality interest. You can stay in the room. Councillor Winner's interest is in relation to, just for clarity purposes, that Councillor Winner left the chamber at 7:44. Do I have a mover for this motion? Move Councillor Johnson. Second, Councillor O'Donnell. Councillor Johnson, wish to speak? Councillor O'Donnell, you wish to speak? No councillors wish to speak? No worries. There's no dissent, councillors. Carried 9-0. May we have Councillor Johnson back in the room? Sorry, Councillor Winner back in the room. Sorry, Councillor Johnson, I know that you stayed there. Item 15.2 is under Advocacy and Strategy. Councillors, the 2025 Australian Local Government National General Assembly motions are as presented. We have 3 motions and we have an officer recommendation. This was asked to be pulled, councillors. So do we have a mover for the recommendation? Move Councillor Viskovich. Seconder? Councillor Winner. Councillor Viskovich, you wish to speak? No. Councillor Winner, you wish to speak? Any councillors wish to speak on item 15.2.1? No? No dissent, councillors? Just before I add anything else, I'll speak in favour of the motion. And can I thank our Director of Advocacy and Strategy? We were successful last year at Walga with our item which got up. We were hoping to get it through on day one, but it was the first item on day two. But again, this shows our leadership at a national level, which is something to be applauded for this council. There's been no dissent, councillors, so I'll carry that 9-0. Can I also highlight that I did make an error in 15.1.4. That vote should be 8-0. Thank you. Item 15.3, corporate and commercial. Expressions of interest, Goldfields Oasis for a commercial lease. Councillor Winner moving, thank you. Seconder. Councillor Viskovich. Councillor Winner, you wish to speak?
I do, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Go ahead.
I'll keep this brief, given that this was in the on-block agenda. However, I just wanted to express how thrilled I am that we once again will be seeing the Oasis Cafe open for our community in our much-loved and used recreation facility. This service has been sorely missed, and it is something that many residents have raised concerns with me now for some time now. I look forward to once again seeing that the centre operating in full capacity, which in no part will come through the awarding of this lease, and once again seeing that the centre's missing pieces can be filled. And I wish the successful applicant the very best moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Councillor Viskovich, you wish to speak? No. Any councillors wish to speak on this item? No. No dissent, councillors? Carried 9-0. Item 15.4, 15.4.1, the change of use childcare premises, lot 4520, lot 28 Home Street in Boulder. This is for a childcare facility. Do we have a mover for the recommendation? Councillor Viskovich, thank you. Seconder? Councillor Johnson. Councillor Viskovich, you wish to speak? No. Councillor Johnson, you wish to speak? Any councillors wish to speak on this item? No? Councillor Winner, you wish to speak? Speak for or against?
For, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, go ahead.
I'll again keep this brief once again. I think it's absolutely fantastic that once again we are seeing more childcare facilities looking to invest and open to the Goldfields community. And I'd like to think it's on the back of a number of fantastic initiatives which have been brought into our community, including the recent conference series, which did provide a lot of support and opportunities for potential workers to enter into the sector and be educated a little bit more into a lot of the challenges being faced. Childcare, through all our work within the city and all our surveys, is up in the top 5, along with crime and a number of other areas. So it's fantastic to see that once again the city is in a position to provide support to see one of these critical areas being addressed moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Any other councillors wish to speak?
Placements for the staff, and it's something that's really very badly needed in town, and it's going to be a
Councillor Turner, just speak for. Thank you. Go ahead.
Just turned off speakerphone. Mr Mayor, yes, I'd like to speak towards this. What is particularly pleasing about this particular childcare proposal is that this is currently an empty building, that nothing is happening on one of our main streets. To have this building revitalised, turned into something that is much needed, is an excellent use of this premises, and I commend the proponent for putting it forward. Not only is it something that's much needed, it is also something that's going to improve the aesthetics of that area.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Speaking for. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? Before the mover has the right of reply, the other item for this particular change of use for the childcare premises is that it's for before and after school care, which is much needed within the city, and also school holiday care as well. So this won't be necessarily a daycare as such. It provides 6 till 9 in the morning, 2:30 till 6:30 in the evenings during the school term, and then 6 till 6:30 on the school holidays as well, which our community have been advocating for a very long time. It's not just for the little ones who need childcare, it's also for those who do struggle during school holidays and the like as well, for the before and after school. The mover was Councillor Winner. Councillor Viskovich. You have the right of reply, Councillor Viskovich. No. No dissent, councillors, for that item. Carried 9-0. Item 15.4.2 was part of the en bloc. 15.4.3 was part of the en bloc. Item 15.4.4, Councillor Viskovich, you have declared a financial interest in and are required to leave the room. At 7:51 p.m. Councillors, we have a officer recommendation here. This is the disposal of land 1 Trasimeno Way, Somerville, adjacent to the city's admin building. Do I have a mover for this recommendation? Move, Councillor Winner. Seconder, Councillor O'Donnell. Councillor Winner, you wish to speak?
I do, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Go ahead.
This motion was one that has come to council previously. It's very pleasing to see that once again, council at that time decided to re-advertise, provide opportunity for greater transparency and opportunity. And once again, at this point, we've only had the one applicant come through. So it's fantastic to see that this is another piece of land that the city is able to assist in activating to see more homes being built. As a community, we desperately need more permanent homes so we can continue to grow our population on a more permanent basis, and this is a fantastic step, and I wish the applicant all the best moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Councillor O'Donnell, any councillors wish to speak?
Yes, Mr Mayor, I'd like to speak.
Thank you. I've also got the Deputy Mayor. Deputy Mayor speaking against or speaking for? Deputy Mayor, go ahead speaking for. Councillor Turner, I'll come to you in a moment.
Thank you, Councillor Winner, and thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd also like to echo the sentiments and commend the builder with regards to adding to our supply of long-term properties within the city and housing, and also supporting sustainable population growth. So enabling a local builder to develop the site not only stimulates local employment, but also acknowledges and commends the critical role local builders play in meeting housing needs. We've had lots of other major developments come to council for approval that still haven't got off the ground. So I do want to commend the local builders in this space for getting in and getting housing supplies to market sooner rather than later.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Speaker against? Speaker for. Councillor Turner. Go ahead, Councillor Turner.
I too wish to speak in support of this motion. I think firstly it was great that council put it back out to make sure that there was nobody else in the community that wanted to be involved here. I'd like to commend the proponent. They have obviously kept an eye on this very strategic, valuable piece of land, knowing that it is a fantastic area to build permanent housing to grow our population in the Goldfields and to provide much needed permanent housing. We've already heard at the start of the meeting the need for permanent housing in our community. I'm very excited that it's a local builder who I'm going to say has a fantastic reputation and skin in the game. We've seen from their other developments around town that have provided housing for decades for our community, and they've also taken the bull by the horns and they're prepared to put their money on the line to be able to provide housing. They're only a small company to be able to do that. It'd be great if some of our industry partners were as brave as what they are, and I'm fully supportive of this.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? Mover has the right of reply. Councillor Winner? Not taken. No dissent, councillors? Carried 8-0. Item 1545, the DAP application, proposed workforce accommodation, lot 173 Kitchener Road in Mullingar. Deputy Mayor has declared a financial interest and will now leave the room. Councillor Brownlee, who's been on the phone, has also declared a financial interest. Can you please hang him up? Thank you very much. So he's no longer on the call. Both times being 7:55 for the minute purposes. Therefore, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Councillor Turner, who is on the phone as well. He's gone? Yep, confirmed. Councillors, we have the DAP application, which is as presented. Councillors, is there a mover for the DAP application? Councillor Winner, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to propose an alternative motion.
Sure. What's your alternative motion, Councillor Winner?
I will read through it. There's a bit in there, so I do apologise.
Right. So this is all the red, right? Okay.
Yeah. I might just read the motion in full.
Yep, go ahead, please,
Thank you,
for transparency purposes, and then we'll get a
seconder.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So it is that council
Stand
one...
by. Sorry, just stand by. There's a bit there, and I understand that the red writing, not the red writing hood, but the red writing may be a little bit hard for people to take on board. So, Councillor Winner, your alternative motion is as presented on the screen at this point in time. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Right, okay. Go ahead with your alternative recommendation, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The alternative motion is that Council 1 notes the attached responsible authority report, attachment 4, to be submitted to the Regional Development Assessment Panel in relation to application reference DAP/24/02817, and 2, does not endorse the recommendations in the Responsible Authority Report as to how the application should be determined by the Regional Development Assessment Panel pursuant to Regulation 12.5 of the Planning and Development Assessment Panel's Regulations 2011. And 3, recommend that the Regional Development Assessment Panel resolves to refuse DAP application reference DAP/24/02817 and accompanying plans in accordance with Clause 68 of Schedule 2, the deemed provisions of the Planning and Development Local Planning Schemes Regulations 2015 and the provisions of the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder Local Planning Scheme 2 for several reasons, including non-compliance with LPS 2 zoning and land use permissibility, non-compliance with the city's workforce accommodation policy, particularly Section 5 of the time-limited approval section, and failure to provide a needs assessment as per Section 3, concerns over the impact of the local road network as per Western Australian Planning Commission Transport Assessment Guidelines, demonstrated adequate preparedness for room typology for a 10-year approval, the need for more robust planning as per required bushfire guidelines, and concerns over water sustainability and city impact given water corporations in the ones along the way. It may not work for your process.
Excuse me, Mr Mayor, as well, I want to
Stand,
that alternate motion.
stand by. Thank you, Councillor Turner. I'll be speaking first. Thank you. Thank you. Just for purposes of debate tonight, there are people in the audience who would like to understand this process a little further. Council have a DAP application here to consider in relation to a responsible authority report. The approval or the final approval for this particular item is not made by this council, it is made by the Joint Development Assessment Panel. Council, in its role as the regulatory responsible authority, are required to conduct a report and submit it for councillors' consideration. Tonight, debate, councillors, is to be in relation to the policy and the guidelines. Debate will not be entertained in relation to personal preferences. Please stick to the policy and the guidelines if you wish to debate this particular item tonight. Just to reiterate that this item is still to go to a Joint Development Assessment Panel. That particular panel requires an answer tomorrow. We are unable to defer. If we defer this item tonight, therefore there is no answer to DAP. Same if this particular item lapses. Our role in this is quasi-judicial, which needs to be taken on a factual basis and not an opinion basis. Councillor Winner, you have put forward that recommendation. Thank you. Councillor Turner, you have indicated to second that particular recommendation. Councillor Winner.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Tonight, I'll be speaking against the officer's recommendation and report and offering this alternative motion as I hold several serious concerns regarding the information provided, the officer's report and the project as a whole. Given time restraints, I will touch on the most significant areas. The city's zoning and land use permissibility, the area under the city's zoning and land use permissibility, the area is zoned as residential, and as such, workforce accommodation is listed as a use, meaning that it is not permitted unless the local government has exercised discretion to approve subject prior to advertising. I am not confident that this has correctly occurred, given this is the first time this item has been brought to council. As such, this project under LPS 2 has misinterpreted the intent of the city's workforce accommodation policy in considering time-limited approvals when assessing for 10 years, particularly under Section 5. The RAR has taken a holistic approach to assessing the applicant's contribution to the community over the years, as opposed to what community benefit can be derived from the project itself, or will be offered as a direct result of the project. Genuine need, not only for the number of beds being proposed, but also for the project as a whole, has not been clearly demonstrated, with only the current rental market being taken into account. Staging of the project, other accommodation options, including hotels and existing workforce accommodation camps, both within the city and in surrounding areas, does not appear to have been assessed as part of the application or RAR. Information outside of general statements around food and services also has not been quantified, and alternative project options are not demonstrated that they have been considered or explored. I simply cannot agree with the officer's determination that need has been satisfactorily achieved, when to me it clearly has not. I also have concerns on the level of impact this project will have on the local roads network. As per the WA Planning Commission's Transport Assessment Guidelines, given the dramatic increases in vehicle usage and the fact that the need to track fuel and water on the site has not been considered a part of this assessment. On water, Water Corporation themselves has outlined they cannot provide the required water to the project, and power will need to be achieved through generators, which has not formed part of the noise assessment process. Rays have not been adequately addressed in full and hold further possible planning and community impacts on this project. This is not a fly-in, fly-out debate, as outlined by the Mayor. It is a planning decision, and as such, I respectfully disagree with the officer's finding as part of the RAR, and that the proposal has satisfactorily addressed state and local planning framework requirements, and cannot support this proposal of the application should be recommended for approval and be given a 10-year approval timeframe. I also hope my fellow councillors feel the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Councillor Turner, you are the second to go ahead.
Okay, so I firstly too had a lot of concerns about this application, hence why I was happy to second Councillor Winner's alternate motion, which was very important to open discussion so we have comment to make to JDAP. An item lost on this development proposal tonight would mean that JDAP would not have our view on it, which I feel is very important. The concerns I have about this application are whether it fits our workforce accommodation policy and also fits into our LPS too, whilst understanding and appreciating that any review of this application can only be based on planning merit, not emotion or opinion. And of course, there are very strong emotions and opinions on workforce accommodation, not only in our community, but they're reflected in similar communities throughout the state. I'm not discounting as a region and community that we are based on mining, and I also believe our residents and our residential-based business suppliers and contractors also too understand this, of which some of our proponents earlier have already spoken on this. I don't wish to hinder or halt progress and expansion, but at some stage as a community and a council, we have to stand up and show up and speak up and say enough. I've revised and reviewed this proposal at length, and quite simply, I do not think it fits our workforce accommodation policy or fits into our LPS2 current planning scheme, as Councillor Winner has already highlighted. The zoning is residential for housing. It is under LPS S2, it is residential land use for residential build. While the proposed use we have here is discretionary, it does still require approval, and I believe it has not been advertised correctly and it is not permitted for what we have in place and has had correct community consultation for a change in use. I stand to be corrected here if I've misinterpreted that. Also, under the R for R, the application says one thing, but as Councillor Winner has highlighted, the RAR says another thing. The proposal states the history of the company, not the project. These are very different things. There are huge red flags in this development, as Councillor Winner has already highlighted. There is not enough water and there is not enough power. The use of generators and vehicles into site to achieve this is going to be extremely noisy. This tells me the site is not suitable. The traffic assessment states it is already high impact. There is no access to Goldfields Highway. It is questionable if this access will ever be granted by main roads. This is not addressed clearly for me. Then we have the parking issues, if they simply don't comply. We then move on to the bushfire plan. This does not allow for the large quantities of fuel that will be needed for these generators. And it does not address parts of Kitchener Road that are already currently unconstructed with one-way access and a railway line with limited crossing points that will now have a lot more traffic. That bushfire plan for me has so many holes in it. I question the location being one that integrates with community. How? It's hardly walking distance to the CBD. And then saying that there will be shuttle buses, more traffic assessment issues, plus the conclusion of the convenience store. How is this integrating with our community? Don't we have at least 2 IGAs north of Maritana Bridge? 800 people. Are all these people needed at once? It has not undertaken the needs assessment for me, and it has not undertaken the current availability, as Councillor Winner has rightly highlighted, of short-term accommodation in the region that already provides this, and also the short-term accommodation that is in the development process and has been approved. This has not been allowed for at all. There are also many options over many sites that could accommodate workers. The use and shadowing that if it's not available, they'll just take up all the rentals. Well, that feels intimidating to me, and I can't make a decision on that. 800 people, is this accommodation just for the proponent's employees or is it for contractors? Why aren't we including our locally based contractors that are already based locally? Will they be losing work from this? Lastly, and I wish to note strongly, I am not opposed to workforce accommodation. I've supported it previously. I believe it has a place. I've supported development in this manner. However, it has fitted a needs basis. In this instance, I'm disappointed that tonight is the first time I've heard, as a councillor, from someone from Northern Star. So for those in the community that have heard tonight from them, I'd like to highlight, as a councillor, the first time I've heard from them. There has been no presentation to this. There has been no suitable needs analysis. There is one paragraph summing it up, including the rental availability, which I said I felt intimidating. That's not enough for me. It's also suggesting they'll take it to a nearby shire. That's not enough for me. And the fact we'll miss out on rates revenue, that's not enough for me. The application has not complied with our workforce accommodation, in my view, and I have significant concerns over several areas. The roadwork network, the development area and the impact on existing residents, the bushfire management plan. And lastly, I'd like to point out, that is one of the biggest concerns, that the proposed temporary, the housing does not need to be temporary. It could easily be permanent, as one of our presenters said earlier, and this accommodation would greatly contribute to our local industries at risk who can assist, and also I feel that we have a very unhappy, disillusioned community who would be asking exactly where we are headed if we supported this.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? Councillor O'Donnell, you're speaking against Councillor Winner's recommendation. You speaker for. Councillor O'Donnell, go ahead, please.
Sorry, got confused with the other one. I want to commend Councillor Winner on his in-depth searching, planning and putting this forward. Mayor Jurovic said to me over 10 years ago, when these planning come through to council, you can object to it all you like, but as you say, you've got to base it on policy and our rules and everything, and not our personal thing. In this issue, Councillor Winner has hit the target, and even Councillor Turner, when she was commenting about having fixed, agree with comments by the community, the Hare Street going up there towards the Goldfields Highway can be very busy. And it's amazed me where I heard the comment, it's one entry in and out. I'd rather see two. But I'm in support of Councillor Winner's amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Speaker against? Councillor O'Donnell. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor Bodica.
Thank you. I want to support Councillor Winner tonight too, and I strongly agree with his comments and also with Councillor Turner. I live a block and a half away down towards Cotter Street on the corner of Cotter and Hare Street, and I'm really concerned about, the traffic and the impact that's going to have in that area. I think that to have 414 car bays plus 6 bus bays is going to have a massive, sort of impact on the amenity of the area. We need to be looking at sustainability of our town, not looking at, we want to have houses that are well built and that are going to keep people here for the long term. The water supply, as Councillor O'Donnell mentioned, and the sewage is also a red flag. And, I just think that, I think that we should be looking at long-term gains rather than short-term gains. So I'm going to definitely be supporting Councillor Winner.
Thank you, Councillor Bodica. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor Johnson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. The important document that we need to fly with is called Workforce Accommodation Policy. It's our policy, and it's deliberately written and put in place for this very, if you like, discussion tonight. And it appears that when you go through this, there's a lot of holes that haven't been filled by the proponent. And these holes have been obviously raised with our community, raised by our community, especially when you have 100 and, we'll just go back and have a look in here,
49.
148 submissions.
And one today, sorry, and just a point of order, one today as well, so it's 149.
149. And yes, thank you very much for that too, it was. And so we have a lot objecting to this. We also have, as it's come out of here, main roads issues. as well with the Greater Goldfields Highways, Water Corp. That's a very big one, especially when water's got to be trucked into that area. Our zoning and permissible use. It is a discretionary use. It's an use as it is in residential zoning areas. And what we've got to do is ensure that we use our policy to address that. And I think what we need to do is to make sure that this policy is front and centre when it goes to the DAP via the RA process. I think that's very important. Our planning position statement in this policy is quite important as well, and I think that's got to go to DAP as well. The planning position statement does say that it's got to be workforce accommodation should be established in towns and locations that are suitable to its context to facilitate their ongoing sustainability. And this is our town that we're going to be looking at as well. And much like what Councillor Bodica was saying about our town needs to grow. And that sustainability they're talking here is that we need to grow and have it grow, or our town needs to grow. It's got to be consistent with the local planning strategies and schemes. Very clear. There's a lot of holes in it, and I just don't think it's up to speed at this stage. Officers note, because in the policy it does mention in here 10 years up to, and beyond that there's other requirements. But these short-term, what they are, short-term, can be 2 years, 3 years. Generally we give it to 5. And then it needs to be proven that there is a need for this to continue. Just to go to the top of 10 years and doing that is just doesn't really, it flies in the face of our own policy. And I'll just conclude with this one here. I know that there was the discussion tonight, and it's more let me just find it here. The Kalgoorlie area was mentioned tonight, that this accommodation, workforce accommodation, the look in the Kalgoorlie area. Now, I take Kalgoorlie area as a very large area. I can let people around, or people here tonight in our council, that not far from Kalgoorlie, there's ample workforce accommodation. Ample. And I don't know whether that's been looked at as well, and I think DAP should be looking at that. It may not necessarily be in our town centre, but it's there. And I think as one way of looking forward to it, that needs to be investigated, or at least noted in submissions, and it's not. So, and on the last note, Mr Mayor, come next month, and I think you may wish to speak on this in your wrap-up, come the next month, our public, our residents need to know that the council itself is going to lose lots of input into this type of planning going forward. And we need to make sure our community understands that. Like this is going through the RA process to of state government legislation. And Mr Mayor, if you wouldn't mind later on in your wrap-up, because you're well over that, maybe mention some of that as well. Thank you very much, and I do support Councillor Winner's proposal.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. No pressure to mention that now. Speaker against, Speaker for, I think we've all had a say. Councillors, I'll be speaking in favour of Councillor Winner's recommendation. There are a couple of things, as mentioned, and other councillors have made points of this particular piece tonight, but before I start on that, I do wish to raise that we aren't altering the planning officer's professional opinion. Council comments are being incorporated into the appropriate section of the response for Council's input. It'll be all done at a delegated officer level. That is a requirement of the state government. That has been state government legislation, not one that this council supports. For the analysis of Councillor Winner's adjustment, Councillor, sorry, can I please have the recommendation brought up? Point 2, point 3, yep, non-compliance. I will speak to, sorry, can I get the full version of page 22? Thank you. The typology for a 10-year approval. Councillors, under our policy, our statement here under workforce accommodation policy for room typology for a 10-year application, which is what we're being asked to consider, is for a room typology to be above 14 square metres, including bathrooms and ensuite in total size. What we have been given in this particular policy is the living and sleeping area, including the ensuite, being 11.88 metres squared, below the threshold of what we require under our policy. To get above this, the application has included the balcony area, which then takes the room size to 17.28 metres squared. However, our policy does not state you are to include the balcony area. It is for the room space only. So therefore, in my opinion, the room typology does not fit with what is being put forward. That's just one matter. There are also, and I'll highlight that under our policy, it is time limited approval, section G, number II.3. I will also make a mention of our council policy in regards to the positions that we find ourselves. Point 3 of the positions that are in our policy, it's on page 5. Point 3 states, the council's aspiration is for workforce accommodation to be met as much as possible through residential, hotel or motel accommodation. This particular development under the needs process has only identified residential accommodation and not hotel or motel accommodation. I also highlight our need item under point 3, which also further accentuates this as well. And that is that major projects that require review of workforce demands should be the catalyst for review of workforce practices. The potential for existing settlements to accommodate workers should be considered as part of the workforce model for any such project. As such, the need for additional beds must be considered against the capacity of existing settlements to meet the accommodation needs. And then there is the following provisions guide as to how they will be assessed. That, I don't believe, has been met in particular through the RA and through all provisions. There are also 3 other considerations for me, and we talk about integration into the community. There is a convenience store, a gym and a dining area which are located within this particular facility. Community in any way, shape or form. I'll end the debate by saying I wish to appreciate the 149 submissions that have been placed onto this. Again, to reiterate what I said originally, the final approval for this goes through to the the Joint Development Assessment Panel. Council tonight have put forward their recommendations to the Joint Development Assessment Panel. Above what has been reported here and what Councillor Winner has put forward as well shows that Council at this particular point in time do not support that. We'll boast that on a vote in just a couple of moments' time. Councillor Winner, you have the right of reply.
Thank you, Mr Mayor and fellow councillors. While I recognise the council and the city will not have the final say on this application if it is successful or not, or any say on any application such as this moving forward after legislation changes, it is important that areas of concern are identified and communicated to the decision makers to ensure that they can be appropriately considered and the intent of our policies and procedures understood. Council is not anti-development, far from it. I simply feel that what was being proposed under the original recommendation has not considered or supplied all the required information as required and expected of an application of this nature, and does not meet the requirements. I cannot and will not agree with the original recommendation as it sets a very dangerous precedence and is not in line with the requirements, intent or community direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. As there has been interest here, there's been no dissent, but just for clarity purposes, as many people do have in the gallery an interest in this matter tonight, I will raise for a vote. Councillor Turner, you're on the phone. I will require you to raise your voice. Seeing your hand from here might not be achievable. Councillors, hang on a second, Councillor Turner, I haven't put the motion. For those in favour of Councillor Winner's alternate motion, please raise your hand or jump in on the conversation on the phone. Thank you, Councillor Turner. Those against? Councillor Winner, your alternate motion is carried 6-0. May we please have Councillor Viskovich and the Deputy Mayor back? Can we please get Councillor Brownlee back? Councillors, just as we... Oh, wait, sorry, I'll wait. Noting that at 8:24 we have the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Viskovich and also Councillor Brownlee back with us. The vote will be out of 9. Councillors, 1546 is a development application for a warehouse and storage at 13 Percy Road. Councillors, there has been an update to the officer recommendation under condition 19, which notes that the operator shall provide a report to the Director of Engineering, City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder, detailing all restricted access vehicle and oversize overmass vehicle movements to and from the site after 6 months of the commencement of operation and every 6 months thereafter to the satisfaction of the City. Just bring that to your attention after last week's agenda briefing. And we've lost the gallery, sorry. There's something else said. The item 1546 is for discussion. Councillors, do we have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Winner. I also note that we've lost Councillor Bodiker in that process. We have that time recorded. Sorry, Councillor Winner is moving that. Do we have a seconder for that item? Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Councillor Winner, you wish to speak? Councillor O'Donnell, you wish to speak? Any councillors wish to speak? No? Carried 8-0. Noting Councillor Bodiker is still out of the room. 1547 has been considered under the en bloc. 1548, councillors, there's also been an adjustment to recommendations from staff. I have the officer recommendation has been updated. The new conditions are imposed. Do we have the detail on this? Okay, councillors, sorry, apologies there. Would you like me to identify which of those recommendations were updated? Stand by. I need to get through some emails. No, it's all good. Just 2 minutes, please. No. Councillors, the changes to being endorsed. New condition 20, so I'll just read this so you've got an idea here, councillors. So it might be actually in your recommendations if you want to follow along with me. They are? Excellent, thank you. There was a lot to read, so therefore they're all there. Do I have a mover for those recommendations, therefore, councillors? Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Seconder, Councillor Winner. Councillor O'Donnell, you wish to speak? Councillor Winner, you wish to speak? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. At last week's agenda briefing, I know a number of councillors, including myself, did have some concerns over the conditions following and to ensure that the requirements of both DAP and the city and the community as a whole can be met. Given the airport access road remains a significant unknown, both now and in the future, I feel the officer's recommendations and new conditions, apologies for that, are fair and in line with community expectations and requirements. I am all for supporting new developments and opportunities, but not at the detriment of our community or those who have already invested, live and partake in our community and the surrounding areas around such developments. I feel the officer's recommendation provides a good balance and a great outcome for all involved and are more than fair and just in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? The mover has the right of reply. Councillor O'Donnell? No, thank you. No dissent, councillors? Carried 8-0. Still with Councillor Bodiker outside. The vote was taken just before Councillor Bodiker re-entered, so therefore that is 8-0. Councillors, there are questions of which due notice has been given. There are nil. Councillors, we have one item to consider in a confidential state. May I ask the members of the public and the press to depart the gallery, please? For council to consider one item. You are welcome to come back after. Can't tell you what that time will be though. Thank you, Councillor Viskovich. Seconded, Councillor O'Donnell. No discussion. Confirm that you are alone at this point in time. Thank you. Councillor Brownlee, can you please confirm that you're alone?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Councillors, we are here to consider now. Council has reopened the doors. Sorry, Matt, are we restreaming? Yep, Council has reopened the doors after considering one item in camera that relates to a disposal of land for Council, which is Area 1 in Broadwood. The date of the next meeting will be the 19th of May 2025 as I close the meeting tonight at 8, which is fantastic. This means that we didn't need to call upon you too much. And thank you to staff and councillors.